We trade more with the European Union than amongst ourselves. Our trade patterns take us to Europe. You go to any, and I'm extremely fortunate enough to travel through the continent. You go to any port in Africa. The rail infrastructure takes you from the port, from the mine, to the port.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I salute you all. I welcome you to this program of Entrepreneurship and Sustainable Development, sponsored by Fenlina Management Consultants. My name is Nathan. Today, we are going to look at job creation strategies to eradicate poverty and hunger. And our emphasis, as usual, is on Africa. The aim of the program, Entrepreneurship and Sustainable Development, is to create and promote an entrepreneurship culture in Africa. This is one of the series of free lectures with the aim of creating and promoting an unprecedented entrepreneurship culture in our communities in Africa. Your participation is highly welcome. It could be through lectures, plays, comedies, presentations, financial assistance, and so on. The objectives of this presentation are mainly to give my opinions on the various strategies that could be embarked on in order to create jobs to fight poverty and hunger on the African continent. Then also to plead to our leaders all over Africa to be more united than ever before in the job creation endeavors. Job creation is one of the priorities that mitigate the risks of failing to make the Sustainable Development Goals agenda become a reality. We see evidence of the work that some countries have done in eradicating poverty and hunger through mega projects to create jobs, developing their infrastructure, plus improving interconnectedness, to name but few. We are also very much aware that their external powers and influences determined to make sure that the SDG agenda fails in Africa. Neocolonialism is manifesting itself in so many ways, and we have recently seen changes that bring back neocolonialism. We need to be very careful and fight it head on. They continue fragmenting our strengths through all sorts of approaches, such as creating and promoting hatred among us based on minor differences in our culture, religious differences, political boundaries that they imposed on us, ethnic superiority attitudes, which ultimately leads to animosity between various groups. For instance, the Tutsi and Hutus in Rwanda who were fragmented by the French. This video shows exactly the cause of the conflict that eventually led to the genocide in Rwanda.
In this case, the European colonial powers, Germany and then Belgium, had exploited ethnic divisions among Rwanda's population, favoring the country's Tutsis over the Hutu ethnic group. In 1959, as Rwanda prepared for independence from Belgium, a violent incident sparked a Hutu uprising in which hundreds of Tutsis were killed and thousands displaced and forced to flee to neighboring countries. This wave of violence marked the start of the so-called Hutu Peasant Revolution or the Social Revolution in Rwanda, which lasted from 1959 to 1961. This period signified the end of Tutsi domination and the sharpening of ethnic tensions within the country. At the height of the violence, local peasants armed with machetes, clubs, spears, and a few rifles were moving around the hilltops from village to village, setting light to homes and evicting or killing their residents.
Cultural and social imperialism. The newest of this category is where the West is trying to unashamedly impose its culture and social values on the African continent by even financing homosexuality, which prevents individuals from working and earning decent incomes because of donations, promoting social and moral enmity among our citizens, and skewing our continent from focus in addressing our pressing needs as Africans, inhibiting progress in various ways. As we all know, job creation leads to improvement and maintenance of people's living standards. Eradicating poverty and hunger happens as a result of job creation. African leaders must unite to create an environment that promotes sustainable job creation at all levels of society, which will enable them to not only maintain themselves, but become self-sufficient and progressive. There must be sufficient food everywhere in Africa. We have more than 60% of the world's arable land concentrated in Africa. We must maximize usage and management of this resource. We must implement mechanisms that increase our arable land size and value. I give special thanks to the former Libyan president, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, who created a river in the Sahara Desert, creating more land size for agriculture.
Gaddafi's most ambitious infrastructure project, the Great Man-Made River, was turning desert regions into a thriving breadbasket for Libya, and the $33 billion project was being funded interest-free with zero foreign debt through Libya's own state-owned bank. That could explain why this critical piece of infrastructure was first to be bombed in 2011. It had been put in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's largest irrigation system. But Western media reluctantly shared news on the project, even though all other projects globally paled in comparison. NATO forces not only bombed the pipeline, but finished off the project by bombing the factory, producing the pipes necessary to repair it.
Investment into mechanization and modern technology will lead to plenty of harvest. We need to have reliable storage facilities. We need to have reliable transport to ensure that the supplies are delivered on time without getting spoiled, stolen, or destroyed. We need to ensure that justice and peace are promoted on our continent. By this, I mean we need to ensure that the continent is immune against external invasion or aggression. We need to ensure the conflicts within Africa are resolved without the gun. We have a recent example where leaders of the African continent met in Ethiopia to resolve disputes without the gun. We need to ensure our justice systems are robust. As far as effective stewardship of nature, we need to have initiatives to conserve nature, to protect our planet against degradation of our natural resources. Therefore, if job creation is taken very seriously by every country, Africa will grow faster together, develop faster together, and achieve shared prosperity. These are the factors influencing job creation and stability in Africa. We do not have a conducive investment climate, and we need to work on this. The starting point here is leadership. We need to establish and maintain strong legal or justice systems. We need to fight crime without fear or favor. We need to fight corruption head-on. We need to facilitate investment activities. We need to silence the gun. We need to involve the youths and the professionals in our leadership by making sure that financing of wars in Africa, both externally and internally, are stopped. To make sure that illegal trade is stopped, make sure that plundering of our resources is stopped immediately, and making sure that foreign invasion is prevented or stopped before it happens. Having Africa as one country will help in job creation in the following manner. There will be free movement between borders. Tariff barriers will be removed. We shall have one country. We shall have one currency. We shall learn and use one language. We shall have continental security enhanced. We shall have one travel document all over Africa, able to have interconnectedness because the infrastructure will be traversing the whole continent. We shall be able to easily beneficiate our resources. Continental free trade area will be promoted. Let's listen to the speech by the former South African Governor of Central Bank, Tito Mboweni, about the moves that have to be undertaken in Africa for entrepreneurship to thrive.
Very slow in creating a Southern African common currency.
Right.
We should have done that. We should have pushed harder for the removal of customs duties amongst the Southern African countries to allow for the free movement of goods. Maybe as central bank governors, we should have propagated more, as I say, for free movement of people, free movement of goods. Like we have a very funny situation in Africa today. We have the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, but you still need a visa to go to an African country. How can you have free movement of goods, but then you need a visa on the other hand? So the truck driver must go around producing a visa, transporting free movement of goods. Doesn't make sense.
To that point, on you could have done more for the adoption of a single currency. There is a question here that says, do you think it's attainable then in the short to medium term, certainly in Southern Africa?
I think it is attainable, but it needs political courage.
With that, I would like to plead to our leaders all over Africa that let's all be more united than ever before in the implementation of these recommendations and facilitate or ensure the creation of jobs to fight poverty and hunger, to achieve shared growth, shared development, and shared prosperity. Let us fight together against any form of division, internal or external, to avoid any setbacks, because this will slow down or prevent the achievement of our Sustainable Development Goals agenda. Let us all make our efforts to support this program for the benefit of the current and future generation. All kinds of support are highly welcome. For more information, feel free to contact me on +2771 543 2931 or fenlinda12@gmail.com. This brings us to the end of this lecture, brought to you by Fenlinda Management Consultants. Be sure to leave a comment, give the lecture a like, and subscribe to the channel for more exciting and inspiring information. Thank you for your time. May God bless you.